Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Neurominds podcast. And today I am honored to have Natascha with me. We met around 2-3 weeks ago, but I let her introduce herself.
Okay, hello everyone. Sorry, and I look at you or I look at her.
As you want. It's okay.
Hi, and my name is Natascha Lander, and I'm the founder of Believe Partners, and I'm half Swedish, half Polish, and I'm a person with ADHD.
Thank you very much. And you have 3 boys. You have 3 kids,
yes.
right?
Correct. I have 3 boys. Yes, 3 very beautiful, amazing, and very energetic boys. Yes. So it takes quite a lot of my energy, but it's beautiful.
I can imagine. And are all of them ADHD, autistic, or what's the...
So that's an interesting question. So Louis, my middle one, is ADHD or diagnosed ADHD. I actually think that possibly my older one is as well, but we haven't diagnosed him because I think also every person kind of has it in a different way, the different symptoms, different behavioral things that come out. So it's not every time the same. And I only found out about my own ADHD because of my son. So my son had very big issues at school for many years and still. And we didn't understand what was going on and why. And so eventually it was actually the school who said to us, you should probably have him checked out and see what it could be. Because we had calls every single week, twice a week, calls from the school saying, please come and pick up your son, or your son has disappeared, or your son has been violent or aggressive, or whatever it has been. And so then I didn't even know what that was, ADHD. And this is now about 4 years ago. And he was then diagnosed with ADHD. And I actually found the whole assessment also very odd, because it was the kinderarzt, the pediatrician, who made an assessment, and it was just a questionnaire. And it was a questionnaire filled out by the teacher, by the doctor, and by myself as a parent. And that in itself already, I still find it very strange, like the whole assessment. So he was diagnosed with ADHD. And it was only because of that I started reading a lot about it. So I started wanting to understand what is ADHD and what does it mean and how can I support my son. And through reading this, I suddenly became aware that, oh my God, all of these things, that's exactly me. So I'm self-diagnosed. I'm not officially diagnosed, but I'm now going through the process for diagnosis, which is for adults different here in Switzerland. It's going through a psychologist. And for children, it's another process, which again is very strange. That's the short story, basically.
Thank you for sharing that. And I feel that, first of all, I think that a lot of parents suddenly identify themselves with the content of what they're reading about their children and being like, oh, actually, that's me. Which is also like a bit unfortunate if you find out so much later in life, because you could have prevented like a lot of situations if you just would have known, right? But we grew up in different times, but nowadays I think, especially when we have children, what we can do is making a difference by educating and also getting the record straight, so other kids will be assessed much earlier, so you can really like support them in systems that have not been created for different thinking, thought-provoking ideas, etc. So I think, that's the thing. And also, like when it comes to the diagnostic in medical terms, I personally never heard that the process is different for children. So I'm really keen to know a little bit more, like how the process is different to children, because my personal process as an adult was very simple, I have to say, because the psychiatrist that I had, he was just asking about like situations that I have on a daily basis, what I do struggle with. So he was really trying to understand like my days, who I am. And then after like 2 or 3 days, he already said, I think you are ADHD and autistic.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. But that was a different process also to other adults I've been speaking to. So, and also I think that we, unfortunately, when it comes to like medical and diagnostics, etc., there is also a lot of assumptions because it doesn't take into consideration your experience. And this is something that I find really strange. Yeah, if you want to share a little bit more about the diagnostic process.
Sure. And actually, 2 points I really want to make from what you've just said. This is exactly, the doctor was then saying to us, the child doctor was asking us, saying, who do you think it is from you both parents? So he was looking at us and saying, who do you think it is from you two? And I remember in that moment how I was very like, what does he think? What is he trying to, blame me or put the guilt on me? Like, that's nothing to do with me.
Blame.
The blame thing. And I was really pushed back. I was like, I'm normal. There's nothing wrong with me. I'm completely normal. I'm definitely is not from me. But then I also didn't think it was from the father of our son. So that was the first where I just realized this. Again, it's this whole stigmatism around. Also, it's not a disease. They call it a disease or a deficit. It's neither deficit nor disease. It is it's a different way of thinking, or a different way of the way the brain is wired, or you could call it a gift, really. So that was the first thing. But also, as you said exactly, if I had known that diagnosis earlier, my God, my life would have been so different, because I've struggled all my life at school. I thought I was dumb at school. I thought I was a dumb blonde. But then actually I realized that this is bullshit. And when I got proper support at school, so I had then one-to-one, like I hated math all my life. But when I had one-to-one lessons, and when someone actually just sat down and actually took time quietly, without all the distraction around me, I could focus and I could do it. And I actually won. I remember in the 6th class, I won an award because I was the one who had done the biggest improvement in a note of whatever, in the Swiss school system. So I had made the biggest, and I never expected to win this award. And I remember that in the school, in the class, the teacher said, okay, now we're going to find out who this whole year has won the award of the biggest improvement. And I said, it's Natascha. And I remember I was right at the back, and the whole classroom turned around and clapped. And I just remember feeling complete shocked. I was like, what the hell? Like, oh my God, I'm not that stupid after all. I actually made it. And I think this is the thing, because you're not stupid, but because of the system, the way it works, it's very difficult for people who have ADHD to understand, even for themselves, why do I behave in a certain way? Why do I struggle with timekeeping? Why do I struggle with organizational? Or am I hyper-organized or completely unorganized? I can be both. And there's so many, and I'd love to hear from you after maybe as well, like the day-to-day struggles, right? Because there are so many. And if you say, if we had known this diagnosis, we would have understood ourselves so much better, and had been able to manage our life better. And I'm sure also been more successful, whatever ways we define success to ourselves.
Absolutely.
But to your question, sorry, on the process of the diagnosis. So with my son, it was literally, I had to say or the school said there was something wrong. We think we should have him diagnosed or just kind of assessed. And then it was these questionnaires, but all these questionnaires were done not even with my son, but me just answering questions and then sending it to the doctor. So I thought that whole process was weird. But when we got the diagnosis, I felt a relief, and I felt then I could really start studying into it. And for me, it became then so clear and evident that the diagnosis is correct. I wonder a little bit, from what also you are saying, what I've learned from you recently about autism. I have a feeling that there are a lot of traits that both I show and my son show around the autism side that I didn't even realize until when I was speaking with you. So, and for my own process, so I'm only just started that process, so I don't know yet, so I'll happily report to you when I find out more. But I don't know more than, it's with a psychologist rather than a doctor. But I have to say that it's been a struggle for me to even just find a psychologist or psychotherapist who will do the assessment.
That's exactly, the problem. And oh my God, I don't know where to start.
So much.
I have like thousands of thoughts and I'm just trying to collect them. But I think when we start with the diagnosis, I would love, from a visionary perspective, to see that in 20 years from today, we don't even need the word diagnosis anymore.
Yeah.
We don't need neurodivergence, ADHD, autism.
Agree.
No one shouldn't care about that because we created and changed the system so everyone can participate
100%.
just as they are.
100%.
And so, the problem is that you just mentioned, there is not enough psychotherapists or psychiatrists available. Sometimes if you are privileged enough and you know someone, you might get an appointment faster.
Yes.
But this is also not fair. It's not really nice.
No.
So that's why also I created Neurominds, because I wanted to have people getting immediate access to support, having a vibe check to see if it's a match, and then getting their appointments without any wait lists or knowing someone or whatever. It's just completely democratized and you can just go and get some support and that's it. So I think that there is, like, from a healthcare perspective, like a lot of gaps that I see also, like when it comes to ET assessments for children. Unfortunately, I mean, the school system by large is still very linear. So you touched mathematics before. I struggled with that as well, massively. Like really bad. And nowadays, I always love to give this one example. So my teacher always only had one way of solving equations. And I was as well called stupid. For reference, I have an IQ of 144. I'm multidimensionally gifted. And I haven't had the privilege to do a uni degree, but I climbed up the ladder quite significantly for the fact that I never studied at a regular university. So at least from a factual perspective, I can tell myself I am not stupid.
For sure.
But I was called stupid my entire school time. So basically, I was writing an exam in mathematics and we had 45 minutes time. I was doing the exam in 30 minutes, gave back the paper, which is also very classic when you have ADHD and or autism, that you are very fast.
You're hyper efficient. You can be hyper efficient. That's so true. And actually, we work very well under time pressure.
100%.
And it's so funny because they gave my son more time at exams. And like, I didn't think about it. And then I realized that's exactly the opposite they should be doing. So in a way, it's almost they should give less time, because when we are under pressure, we work much better. Our brain, because we get then the dopamine kick and our brain works like super fast, super efficient. That's why we're so able also to work in environments where emergency, fire, all of these kind of situations.
100%. I think for the majority, yes. There might be exceptions where they would need longer, but I think for the majority, absolutely. And I took 30 minutes, I gave back my paper, and then he started already like correcting, and he hated me. He was calling me stupid in front of everyone, he was bullying me. He was my teacher. So the person that was supposed to protect me was humiliating me on a constant basis, almost every day, which made me vomit every morning when I went to school. It was horrible. I also was almost about to jump from the window because I really couldn't deal with it anymore. But the thing is, he started like correcting, and he said, well, the results are almost all correct, but you cheated.
Oh my God.
So he immediately accused me of cheating, lying, not doing it faithfully. And you know what? He also just did it because I truly think that, first of all, he's stupid. Because he only knows one way of solving an equation. And he couldn't see how my thought process, how my way, like, could lead to the exact same outcome on his side, right? And he couldn't deal with it. He cannot connect the dots. So first of all, I thought, he was stupid. And today, as an adult, and as I reflected on all of that, I also think that if you're giving back your paper after 30 minutes, how much intelligence do you need if there's a gap of 15 minutes that I could have cheated from anyone? Because obviously not everyone was finished yet. So that would have made more sense. And the thing is, of course, you could claim that there's people left and right, pupils that are maybe starting with the equations that are easier for them. But hey, come on.
No, but he didn't think. He didn't actually use his brain.
Exactly.
Because if he had used his brain and thought about it, is it even possible that she could have cheated? He would have come to logic. And he didn't use logic here or his brain.
No, just emotions.
Emotions.
And it's unfortunately also something that I observed in a lot of men.
Yes.
Older white men that are very, very emotional in terms of taking decisions, making assumptions, jumping to conclusions. And this is also something, when I reflect about that more and more, I'm just like, damn, it's very frustrating.
And you know, just to come back to what you were saying about there's not just one way of solving a solution.
No.
That in itself is intelligence, being capable of realizing that there is not just one solution or one way, but there's many different ways. And in fact, I think a lot of ADHD, and correct me if I'm wrong, a lot of ADHD autistic people have, like yourself, you mentioned, a multidimensional perspective. And so I think often these people have also like a perhaps more photogenic or photographic memory. So just that in itself, when you have photographic memory, right, you work differently. So you see the number, you actually see the number. So you don't, you know, whilst others, they don't see the number as a number. And you know, that's what there was some kind of documentary around how I think also even Einstein, the way he calculated things was in a very different way.
Yes, exactly. But that's exactly the thing, right? Back in the days, or let's say very back in the days, we called them genius, but they also had environments where they could be genius.
Yes,
right?
That's very true. Actually.
Because in our society, everything is so standardized and normed, and this is how it is. There is one system, one way, one thing. This is how you do it. You don't challenge, you don't ask questions, you never challenge authority. And this is like such bullshit. So I don't know, I have the feeling sometimes not only capitalism, but also like the whole like power imbalances and dynamics that we have in the world, they're trying to actually break intelligence.
Absolutely.
You know?
Yes.
But at the same time, we need development in terms of society, we need innovation, we have to develop ourselves as human beings, right?
Absolutely.
But then the people that are truly delivering innovation are the neurodivergents.
Yes.
So
100%.
you have this like conflict as a power hoarder, you know, where some sort of like you need the innovation and the expertise and stuff, but you also don't want to have this intelligence because it's threatening your authority. And this is like, I feel something that is becoming more and more into consciousness into many people. So I feel that there is like certain people waking up kind of and be like, oh fuck, damn, we have to do something here, we have to change something. And change starts with each and every one of us. So I also want to know more about belief. You are a single mom, you have 3 boys, you have a company started. So tell me, how do you deal with all of that?
Thank you. And I just want to refer something back because you were saying something so interesting. You know, we don't know, just talking a little bit around history as well, and I'll come back to your question, but on looking back at history, and as you say that it was in moments, perhaps in very big, how would you say, distracted or changing moments? Like, I think it is like now as well, we're in this moment of a change in the system, perhaps, of our global system, right? And, you know, let's look at just, for example, I don't know the life of Albert Einstein itself. I've you know, read some books about him. I've seen one of his documentaries. But he was obviously during also the Second World War, or just post Second World War. Was it post or during? I think it was during. He was during the Second World War, right? So that was obviously a time of massive global disruption. And
Yes.
as you rightly said, I think that's actually where it gives also humans the chance to step back, step away and step back from perhaps society. Like he did have that chance. So he exiled, he went to the USA in the moment of the global war, of Second World War. And I think it gave him the chance maybe then as well to really question things, right?
Oh, this is such a good point. I think this should be applicable to absolutely everyone. Once you distance yourself from your everyday environment,
Yes.
you start thinking clearly.
Yes.
You start waking up because
100%. You get clarity.
Exactly, and you can only heal if you have that distance. And don't get me wrong, I think the vast majority of people has some sort of trauma.
Yeah,
I know
100%, I agree.
I know
100%.
only very few people
Yes.
that had like a dilly-dally easy life, you know. Just
Doesn't
very,
exist.
very few. I do know actually like
Yes,
one
really?
or two, but it's a very rare case.
Yes.
And I think also what Hollywood has been telling us, you know, about love and about friendship and blah blah, is a whole bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
Because
completely.
life is more complex than that, and we are always trying to simplify things and make things easy, and we have seen that always trying to make everything easy doesn't work. If you have a complex problem, you need complex thinkers that come up with complex solutions, easy to be
100%.
implemented,
Yeah.
so we can actually create this change. So
Absolutely.
100%.
Yes. And I think that's so interesting to your point about in order to step back, to find clarity, look into oneself, to find clarity. You know, I've been in the corporate world for over 20 years, and I worked then for one of the biggest, largest banks for 12 years before quitting and starting my own business. And to your point, you know, and I think you're in this wheel. When you're in the corporate world, you're in this wheel, and I didn't see really. I didn't see what was going on. I didn't reflect. I didn't think.
No, you're just wheeling.
Yeah, I'm just wheeling, literally wheeling and just going, you know, day by day. But you're not actually really living life. And you know, I've had to take this really big step back, a step out of corporate world, and in fact, I would say step out of society almost. I've taken a real step away from almost everything. I have almost isolated myself completely. I hardly ever see anyone, I have to say. Like, this is a rare moment, believe it or not, that I actually go into meeting people, meeting society. But I've had this now for probably last 2 years, where I've really stepped back, and especially intensively the last 6 months. But exactly that point, that stepping back, and that just actually observing and seeing what's happening without getting too deep into it, like still, you know, going back and inside. But that's when suddenly you're just like, oh my God, what is going on here? And that helps to, I think, gain that clarity.
I think this should be something taken up for any psychiatrist or psychotherapist to help, even though I'm not the biggest fan of them, but to some sort of like help them, like people to reflect and to isolate, because I think isolation is not always a bad thing. And sometimes, and this is also something like in terms of neurodivergence, I think this is really important to highlight and mention. Your nervous system is picking up on almost everything that is going around you. So if a therapist is telling you you need to go out, you need to see friends, you need to do activities, sports. Oh my God.
Yes.
Like blown heart bullshit, because the problem is that, first of all, you need to regulate your nervous system.
First, exactly.
And I think that a lot of like in the traditional medical space, I don't know if they don't get it, or if
they're traumatized themselves. They haven't healed themselves.
Probably, yeah. I agree. So, oh my God, we have so much work. We have so much work to do.
You know, I just, sorry to interrupt you, but I've been to see different psychiatrists and psychologists, and I went to see a very renowned, without giving a name, a renowned psychologist at the University of Zurich. And I have to say that I was quite shocked, to be honest, because I felt that this person was deeply narcissistic.
I'm
Really,
not surprised.
really badly.
Not surprised.
The way that he was digging into the past and, you know, like negative. It was just putting down. I was like, oh my God, no. Yeah.
What you're sharing is unfortunately an experience a lot of people have, neurodivergents or not, also neurotypical people, because they some sort of like sometimes, unfortunately, and this is my encouragement to absolutely everyone, they feel that they have to stick through it because that's the therapist, that's the professional, he or she is going to help me. No,
exactly.
If you feel that you are not having a right match, you should definitely not talk with that person about your deepest, darkest, you know, insecurities that you have, problems that you have, or whatever. Like I feel that this should be more and more encouraged, that it doesn't matter, psychiatrist, psychotherapist, coach, whoever is supposed to help you.
You have to have a good connection.
You need to have a good connection.
So the question would be, how do you detect that you have that connection, a good connection? How do you feel? I guess it's again listening to your heart, listening to your gut, listening to your instinct, feeling your nervous system when you're with someone.
I think also here the education, right? Because we, for example, like in society, we confuse butterflies with, that's something cool.
Oh my God, yes.
That's something, it's so beautiful. Oh. You know, like when I was dating guys, I was always like, oh my God, he's giving me butterflies. No, this dude gave me anxiety.
Yeah.
So people first need to learn to segregate anxiety from butterflies. Because if you are meeting someone where things are just calm, especially for neurodivergence, unfortunately, it's perceived as boring.
I know.
And if it's boring, you get no dopamine out of that relationship, it's gonna be difficult. And this is why a lot of neurodivergents end up in abusive relationships with narcissists, because neurodivergents and narcissists are like having the similar traits in the beginning, but with very different intentions. So I think that trusting the gut requires a lot of practice. And I made a video the other day about how everything in life is like a muscle. So it doesn't matter what area in life you want to improve. It's like a muscle that you can train, but it needs repetition. And the problem is that you can have the best tips in the world. And also, like if you ask, I don't know, an AI about neurodivergent hacks or whatever, you can get the best results. But the problem is, if you don't practice it, you will not see any improvement. And you have to make things a habit, because otherwise they don't work. So the gut feeling is usually something where you have to start noticing with awareness and consciousness which body parts are activated when I'm entering a room, when I am entering a crowded city center, or when I'm with the dog in nature. Like what different body parts are activated. And a lot of people don't know that.
Well, of course, because we are not connected to ourselves.
No, we are detrained.
Yes, we're deconnected from ourselves, from our own nature. So you're right. I think we're never taught, whether in school, whether through parents, because also our parents didn't understand this because they were not healed. So it's only when you start doing your own healing that you start to reconnect with nature, with your body, with everything around you, your whole environment. And I think you're right, because now when my nervous system is activated, or when I activate my nervous system, I feel it instantly. Like I had a few moments, like just in this conversation with you and I, where I felt it as well. And I'm conscious in that moment when this is happening. I'm conscious of it now. Before I was never conscious of it. Of course, it happened all the time as well, but I didn't connect it with my brain or my mind or whatever you want to call it. And I think this is really important, that we start learning that and teaching that to children as well.
100%. But it starts also with the teachers. I mean, in school, I was indoctrinated already in kindergarten. I was already told that I shouldn't be doing this, that, I have to behave like that, da, da, da. So I got this script of how I should function as a human. And I think this is wrong, because children are nature. So it doesn't matter how they want to play, how they want to be teaching things or whatever. Like I think you just need to let children be. and just let them be.
Yeah, they will
So
learn everything with
they will
time
learn
anyway.
everything. And
Yeah.
this is, I think, the healthiest thing you can do, but it's so hard to put into practice because we have a lot of power.
Yes.
We have a lot of companies that want to make a lot of money,
Yeah.
and they make a lot of money with
Exactly.
fearing people, with keeping them under control. So I think it's very, very complex, but I also think that neurodivergence will play the key role, the absolute key role in dismantling all of that,
Yeah, I agree.
exposing the shit,
Yes.
and then offering solutions.
Absolutely.
Where everyone collectively can decide, okay, shall we go for this solution or not?
Yes.
You know? Because we should not be making decisions based on one person that is saying, oh, this is how it's going to be.
Yeah.
And you also see that in company structures, right? Where the CEO, he always wants to approve as a final approver. Fuck this bullshit. If you have to approve something as a final approver, it means that you are not trusting anyone on your team, which is bullshit, which is economically not smart, which is not innovative. And honestly, it just doesn't make sense. And you see these dynamics almost everywhere. So yes, in school we have to teach, or we have to let children be, so they can develop this very natural basic instinct inside of themselves.
Yes.
And as soon as we have that basic instinct, also like for adults that now have to heal
Yes.
slowly, right?
Exactly.
How can I say? Like it will prevent you from danger. It will prevent you from running into the wrong jobs, wrong friends,
Wrong partners, everything.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, you take decisions with your head, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And every decision that I took with my head was a shit.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I also changed my thought process. I'm always like, okay, either I took a right decision or I'm learning.
Yeah,
I'm learning. I'm learning.
It's,
okay.
It's all lessons of life that
Exactly.
we're meant to experience.
Absolutely.
And that will make us hopefully grow from it. Actually really view it as a lesson rather than negativity and drama and all of the rest and, tragedy. Yes, you can see it like that. You can see it in the negative glass, or you can see it the glass is half full, actually.
100%.
Learn the lesson, as you say, grow from it, and do better.
Absolutely.
And I still want to respond to your question, of course. Sorry, we got diverted, but this is so interesting. And I think we could, as we've already experienced, we
could just, we could just go on and on and on.
Yeah. But to your question on my company, my business, Believe. So we're tackling three main things, actually. One is future global unemployment because of technology and in particular AI.
Yep.
And the second thing is that completely relating to each other is mental health, including also, of course, neurodivergence. It's not a mental health issue, but it's all related, basically.
Yes.
So unemployment, mental health, and the third thing, and again, this is because of me, is actually specifically ADHD. So what we offer companies to tackle all of these, because we basically work with individuals and also small to medium-sized companies. But we're focused really on the small to medium-sized and really small and individuals. And what we do is that we help these people and companies to become more efficient and to be able to compete with the giants through AI. So I'll just give you a couple of examples, or maybe two examples. One that actually just happened today, this morning. So I'm on the board of a company, of a small-sized company, and we were having a board meeting, and it was a big discussion around the financial side, and in particular, inputting data into the spreadsheet for forecasting sales growth in the future. Now, the salesperson hasn't been doing much of that because also it's a small company, and so this person has a lot on his plate already with being, the main salesperson itself, actually going out and getting. So for him, and that's his passion, and that's what he's really good at. He doesn't like, and we didn't say that, but it's clear, he doesn't like to input the data into the spreadsheet. So this is just one of the examples where we can quite easily find a solution now for this company where they will not have to do one by one inputting data, boring data into Excel spreadsheets, but it will be done automatically through an AI agent. And then afterwards, the salesperson can just talk to the AI agent. and then it will be analyzed automatically by the AI, and brought basically to made a whole forecast automatically. Because also this is all, at the end of the day, it's just future roughly. You need to, of course, as a company, you need to be able to predict and understand what's going on, have some kind of course and goals. But, you know, if this takes so much time and energy and effort, then, you know, we can become so much more efficient through AI. So this is just an example where we can help to install an AI agent and AI automation for one issue that will help them save time, costs, and you know, all the energy, and not have board meetings for 4 hours discussing whose fault is it. Well, you didn't do that. You didn't, you know,
Oh, yeah.
pointless,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So that's just one example. Another example of a client is basically someone who is trying to make themselves as a coach, and we're helping them to make themselves more efficient through AI with, you know, easier social media marketing, easier ways of just, for example, they do regular webinars and events. And how do they set themselves up for these webinars and events through AI to make this all automated, sending out calendar invites, reminder emails, etc., etc. All of this can be automated to help these people to just be more efficient, because, you know, they're struggling. They're one-person companies, and they have huge potential, and they can make it. But we can just help them through AI to become more automated.
Is it also like, I think let's say the classic model a lot of people know is Zapier. Is it like an agent where you can actually create workflows?
It will simply depend on what the client is looking for, what the company or the person is looking for. So everyone is tailored. So we can find solutions for everyone. Yes, as a whole, and typically we have roughly five tools or so, AI tools that we think are some of the best tools to use, that are just easy ones. And then afterwards we can do AI agents or other means. But we don't reinvent we don't reinvent the wheel, we don't reinvent our own tools. We just use what is already out there.
Okay.
We don't do anything ourselves as such.
Cool. So you are consulting these clients on how to make their lives easier with AI. Amazing.
Absolutely.
Okay.
And I think especially, and again, this goes back to unemployment in the future. It's already happening. I mean, last week we heard Amazon had let go 16,000 people. Every week this is happening already. And a lot of it is not out in the headlines because they don't want to show it, but it is happening.
Of course.
So, you know, what we can do is then, for exactly those people who are suddenly without jobs, and they say, like, actually, you know what, I don't want to go back to the corporate world now. I just want to try myself and do it myself. These are the kind of people that we can help, that, you know, they're going to become YouTubers, influencers, sports people, starting music, starting healing, coaches, all of the rest. So, and there was a beautiful quote on that saying, we don't need more people who make money, bankers, you know, this and that. We need healers, we need peacemakers, we need... That's what we need. And I think this is now going to be growing. And that's what we want to help.
Absolutely. I think it's important to also mention that we are aware of the fact that we do need healers. Yes, 100%. Yeah. At the same time, we have to be mindful to identify the bullshit healers. Yes. Because unfortunately, there is since a few years like growing gurus that are not only spiritually bypassing things, but also like really harming people.
So true.
And I mean,
how do you detect that? What do you think?
That's a very good question. I haven't been digging like too deep into the identification of them yet, but I know that they exist, and that we have to be mindful. I mean, the latest example was what was his guy from the Epstein files? The guy that said...
Oh yes, I know who you mean.
God is
Deepak Chopra.
Yes.
Oh yes.
Ugh.
Yeah.
No, honestly, like, what did he say? God is an institution, or an illusion, and girls are real, or something like that. I was like, who the
But did
fuck
he really
are you?
say that? I don't know.
Yeah, so it was apparently it was mentioned in the files, and was pretty obvious that it was him, and it's proven, and there's evidence and stuff.
Yeah.
no, horrible, but
Yes.
these are the kind of like
Yes.
spiritual gurus
Yes.
we have to be mindful about.
You're so
They're
right.
putting out so much bullshit, but being like the absolute evil inside.
Yes.
But of course, we don't know yet how to
True.
identify, how to figure it out. But I think it's very important that we actually, I think healing also means that we give people the tools to actually identify triggers within themselves, their nervous system, how they can react to certain situations, what they
Yes.
feel inside of their
Yes.
bodies, so they can become self-healers,
Yeah,
kind of, right?
exactly.
I think
Yes.
this is a very, very good point. And you also mentioned something very important, the unemployment.
Yeah.
To build a small bridge between an unemployment and neurodivergence, there is 80% of autistic people that are underemployed, unemployed,
Yeah.
or underpaid.
Yeah.
So this has real consequences, obviously, on the lives of people, which is devastating and humiliating. But at the same time, also from an economic point of view,
Yeah.
we are not utilizing skills, innovation,
Completely.
with which we can really drive growth
Yes.
and change.
And I am actually convinced, to your point, that in the future, those people who are neurodivergent, because in the future, the only difference and how we differentiate ourselves between machines and humans is through sensitivity, or let's put it, empathy.
I agree. Yes.
So people who have sensitivity, who have empathy or compassion or whatever you want to call it, I truly believe that those people will be the rock stars, will be the ones really going far. Because everyone else who's just stuck in the wheel and who can't get out of it and who can't reconnect to themselves.
Yeah. I think it's also also what I observe is that we also need to be a bit careful, I think, with the developments that we had in the last couple of years from a technological standpoint, because I feel that some people, they're losing themselves and just using tools and just doing that instead of like actually thinking themselves.
Yes.
And this is very dangerous.
Absolutely.
But it's also like, I would assume something maybe some of the power holders want.
Yeah, of course.
Because the more stupid people
Course.
are, the easier you can just use them.
It's such a good, important point.
Stuff.
Absolutely. And I think that that's why also learning discipline, self-discipline.
Oh,
because
yes.
There's nothing else that's more important than self-discipline. Actually, that's it, sensitivity and self-discipline. I think there was some other person who said that as well. In the future, what are the key skills to learn?
Yeah.
And it's really that, sensitivity and discipline. Because without discipline, we will get into that and we will not be able to, and we will overuse it, all these tools and so forth. And actually, to your point, so I also, the reason why I'm setting up and why I'm doing this business is exactly because I'm neurodivergent. And there's so many tasks that I hate doing. I hate admin, I hate taxes, I hate
Absolutely.
spreadsheets, I hate all. But
Agree.
thanks to AI, I don't have to anymore do all of this. And it's going to get better and better and easier. So we can easily, and this is why we can help neurodivergent people so much in the future.
Yes.
So again, I think this is, to your point, it's actually, that side is really the full glass, the positive side. Yes, the negative side is we can, because we are also very easily disposed to, not disposed, sorry, but to addiction.
Yes.
So we have to be very careful to not get addicted, to not overuse it and leverage, and to be
100%.
able to limit ourselves.
100%.
So I use obviously AI every day, and actually one of the things that I've learned, for example, because I don't like typing a lot, I have to force myself to write things, and I can write. It's ridiculous. But so my trick for myself has been now is that I have two different AI tools, but I use Fireflies right now. I don't want to make any advertising, but I use it to record myself. When I have to report things, when I have to note things down, I just record myself, and I will make a title or name and everything. And I record anything, everything almost, because it will automatically summarize it, give me an executive summary, give me action points to all of that. And then I can easily import that into any other AI tool, whether it is chat or anything else, and ask it to be analyzed, to ask it to take next action points. So to your point, it just helps me with my own ADHD problems,
100%.
or, to become more efficient, to advance, because also I'm a bit of a perfectionist. I think that's another problem perhaps around ADHD is that I want things to be so perfect, but then it holds me off from advancing.
No, I totally feel it. I think anything that could be automated or making your lives easier should be making your life easier, 100%.
Yeah.
I also feel like a strong sentiment also when we look at workplaces that, and this is something I think we also have to be very careful and leaning against, is the fact that some of the company owners or managers in toxic environments, there's also healthy environments. I'm not talking about them. But in toxic environments, they expect you to be even more efficient because you have AI and now you can do everything with AI. No,
of course.
We are already with 40 hours a week, which was done for like factory workers, right? Overloaded and overstimulated with all the complexities and information that people have to deal with on a daily basis. So if you have AI in place, congrats. You should use it to make your life easier.
Absolutely.
And not put more load on top.
Of course.
And this is something that, going back to Amazon, what you mentioned before, they're firing like 16,000 people. This will backfire. Because most of them, they also don't think about what exactly they're doing with their AI. And I give you an example. I was working for a company once. ChatGPT was just introduced, and then basically first they were like kind of against it, but of course, obviously you have to deal with it because suddenly something has been rolled out internationally. I mean, you have to, you know. But then at the same time, there was this like, okay, but then people can be more efficient, people can do this, people can do that, and then they have been thinking immediately about like how to reduce or what kind of positions they could reduce by implementing AI. And I was like, it's not about, it's the thought process. If you are an intelligent person, the thought process is not AI, who can I replace? The thought process is, what processes do we have inside of the company that are red taping us, whatever, and what is it that we can automate to reduce maybe the pain in the ass processes no one wants to do, because most people don't like processes. You know, to actually remove the red tape. So you need to think about how can it make the life easier 100%. From the process perspective. And then at some point when you realize, oh, okay, now we have efficiencies here, blah, 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 maybe we need one person less or whatever. Okay,
but
unfortunately.
Even so, maybe it should not meaning one person less. Actually, what it should mean is that more fulfilled employees, more time for all employers in the company to do other things that they enjoy, that not have to sit from 9 till 5 or 9 till 9 really in the office, but to be able to have a 2-hour lunch, to socialize together, to do sports, to be healthy humans again. I think that is the point. Yes, so of course, cost efficiency, but I think also risk efficiency. So actually, you know, better risk management for the future, better legal risk management as well. Yes, cost efficiency, also of course productivity in the future, but there is so many pluses. I also agree with you, it doesn't have to mean taking people away from their jobs. I think we need to rethink it. But you're right, I think what we're seeing a lot is that companies are letting people go, saying we're going to implement here more AI, but then they're struggling with it in the end.
Of course. Because, I mean, we are not that far yet that we know every single detail about the possibilities and stuff. And let's face it, I mean, to be honest, a lot of people as well are calling themselves, especially in tech, AI specialists or AI pros. Well, I'm like, okay, it's like you're teaching yourself with AI. Okay, great. But at the same time, I mean, the implementation and having the thoughts around the complexities, legal, risk management, whatnot, I think this is where we have the bigger fish to fry, right? And I also feel, I mean, I absolutely agree that we should have happy and healthy employees, because at the end of the day, if you have someone in burnout and that person is not coming to work 3 to 6 months, I mean, you fucked up. You as a company, you fucked up because apparently something's not right. And you're not asking yourself what exactly has happened that the person went to a burnout. And also here, I think what I quickly want to mention is that the shame has to switch sides.
Yes.
The shame should never be on the person that has been burnt out. The shame
100%.
needs to be on the system that has let it happen.
Yeah.
Because usually when you have psychological safety, when you have open dialogues and discussions, it would not be an issue, right?
No, it wouldn't even happen.
It wouldn't happen. So I see
there.
it from both sides. I also need to mention that as an individual, of course, you have to take responsibility for yourself.
Yes.
But how shall we do that if half or even more of our society is not healed?
Yeah.
I mean, how?
Exactly.
You're just being like an obedient person doing like, okay, process F, and you don't think, you just do it. And at some point you realize that all the microaggressions that you had in the office, all like the shitty tasks that have been put on you, all of the things where you had to do extra hours without being compensated, and all these kind of things are just piling up.
Yes. Yes.
It's not about I worked 16 hours every day in a job that I love, because then a burnout wouldn't happen.
No,
it's not about the hours, right?
You do not. Yes.
No,
it's not the hours. It's
No.
right. It's not. It's
so yeah. I think I see that we have a lot of like shifts going on, and a lot of thoughts that we have to have, and I would love to see more nice companies, good companies that are interested in being truly progressive and innovative in the future.
Absolutely. 100%.
And I know that also with the whole white supremacy and all this kind of thing, what is happening right now, these companies, they will hopefully fail.
Yeah.
Like they will hopefully completely fail, because I don't see the future of like trying to sideline communities. I think that's not going to happen, because people are slowly becoming angry.
Yeah.
You know, the fear that has been used as a weapon is turning into anger.
Yes.
And anger is very powerful.
Yes.
And I think that we will eventually in the next 2-3 years, that's my assumption, let's see if I'm right or wrong, but I think that we will have a tipping point where people will become so angry.
I agree.
That it's done.
I agree.
That's it. Like
I hope it's 2-3 years.
Yeah.
But I agree. I think so too. I think that we feel it globally.
Yes.
There
something's cooking.
Exactly. Something's
cooking.
A shift is happening, and whilst it's probably going to be for the next, as you say, maybe 2, 3, 4, whatever years, a difficult one, because it has to probably get a bit worse before it starts getting better again.
Exactly. Rock bottom for the win.
Yeah, exactly.
Rock bottom for the win. Yeah, it's so true. And I think also with belief, with what you are doing, I think every contribution is so powerful and valuable, because at the end of the day, the values that we also carry as neurodivergents is something that we have to like share, right?
Absolutely.
We have to share our values and our wisdom with others so they can really thrive.
Yes.
And yes, it's gonna be hard, and yes, it's gonna be a few tears, and yes, it's gonna be like such a disruptive change for so many people trying to like leave the system or leave corporate and getting out and trying to build something on their own. A lot of them will struggle, I know it, but this struggle will actually turn into something really impactful.
Yes.
You also said something about self-discipline before. I think that's a very important point also to mention, that obviously a lot of ADHDers, especially, they struggle with executive function.
Yes.
It's very tough to implement this self-discipline, and also talking about myself, when I started Neurominds, I was sometimes, I had this vision, I had this idea. Putting it on paper was really, really hard for me, because sometimes I was like, no, I don't want to do the nitty gritty, because I don't like the admin stuff. And, the company is not even registered yet. Can you believe it? It's 2026 and the company is not officially registered yet. Because I would need to use my private home address, which I don't want. Which I'm not doing, so I'm trying to find like a different solution, different way. I'm talking to lawyers.
We can talk about it after, but
yes. But my lawyer's mom died 2 weeks ago, so she's not in a good place. Poor thing. But yeah, these are like the things that I have piled up on my side, where I'm like, I know I need to be more disciplined, but I also implemented now since a couple of months. I am doing at least 1 hour walk with my dog.
Yeah, that's
it doesn't matter how full my day is. I find 1 hour to go for a walk with my dog,
Amazing.
because
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong, my dog gets a lot of like walks and stuff. He's going out a lot, but the thing is that sometimes back in the days when I was still working in an office, when I had to go, I had 15 minutes in the morning.
Yeah.
You know, I went 15 minutes around the block, which is obviously not enough. Then I was working, then I came home, then I was walking again with him, sometimes 15 minutes because I was tired. That's not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like this dog is getting his 1 hour every day. So
Yes.
this is like, I think these are like small implementations that you just make where you just don't compromise.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's really hard, also for me, it's really hard to sometimes, even when it's raining or when it's icy outside, to get my ass up and be like, okay, Lisa, you are taking your dog for 1 hour. Doesn't matter the weather, but I think this is like some sort of like small self-discipline to be implemented. And then also, like when you have, for example, shitty admin tasks that you really don't want to do, that you just have this like impulse and go.
Yeah.
So
100%,
you have this task, you know you have to do it. Okay, it takes 5 minutes. 1, 2, 3, go. And then you just start doing it.
Yes, yes, that helps. And also what helps me in those moments where I have that hesitation or that procrastination, I have it constantly. When I visualize it in my mind, when I dream it or I visualize it in my mind, I actually visualize, and I say to myself, what do I need to really do in my mind? I actually visualize me going there, doing this, actually completing the task. I almost have to do it once in my head, then I can do it much faster and more easily in reality. It's really strange. And to your point around actually self-discipline, so I've had to learn this, and I think for me it's come very much around also self-love. Self-respect, self-love.
Oh, yes.
So, as you say, there is no compromise because that's you. That's your time, you and your dog in nature out there. Yes. And that's self-love. And we're worthy of that. We need that. And, you know, so I've had to write it for myself down. I've put it on my, you know, above my bathroom, above my toilet to say every morning my gratitude and also, you know, my self-love and all of the rest. So I started with that, and then now I've become much more disciplined and structured, that I make sure, you know, I didn't sleep enough for years and years. So I need to make sure I go early enough to bed. Now I just go to bed when my kids go to bed, which is around 9 o'clock. And I actually go to bed, you know, when my kids go to bed. Maybe I read a little book and then I go to bed. But that allows me, because I need to wake up every day between 5:30 and 6 a.m. And I have no choice because I have 3 kids that I need to get ready for school. And I need to get myself ready, and I need to do everything else, right? Breakfast and this and that. So that needs an enormous amount of discipline.
100%.
And as you, I do not compromise. I go every day for an ice bath. So I go in the lake, no matter what the temperature, no matter how ugly or rainy or whatever it is, I do an ice bath. Apart from today, and I did an ice shower instead. But, you know, that's the thing, right? There's certain things that we have to stick to.
100%.
And I think that rewires and reprograms our brain to then become more structured and disciplined. And it's not control, it's actually, it's freedom, it's containment.
Exactly, freedom. Oh my God. This is something that neurodivergents really need. Freedom is so important, and is, as well, I think there is nothing worse than putting a neurodivergent into a cage. Yeah,
into school, this current school system.
Oh my God, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm visiting actually now, just after this, I'm visiting a school, a new school for neurodivergent children here in Switzerland. Because exactly that thing, for my son, I don't believe that the current school system, no matter what, even private school system, it's not a good system for him because of freedom. They need to kind of be free and do as they like, of course, but they still need to learn things or want to learn things. So I'm very excited about the school. I'm hopefully we'll be impressed by what they're doing. It's a very small school, so you'll see.
I would love to see more of these kind of initiatives and schools, and to just like, make a change. And I mean, we could also like start arguing about, are we actually putting some segregation, that we have like different schools, different systems and all these kind of things. Yeah. But I think we're not at the stage yet where we can put inclusivity into one.
Yeah.
But I think we hopefully eventually get there at some point, that we can just, you know, be entirely inclusive as a society.
So right.
Where we're like, okay,
So right.
we have like smaller classes, for example, for neurodivergent kids. It's a bit easier, but we're in the same school, we are like in the same environment, just as an example, or I don't know, yeah, I'm really curious.
I think it's so right. And you know what you were mentioning before about inclusivity and sort of changing corporations or organizations, how they work and how. And I had a very interesting conversation with someone from a big bank yesterday, actually. And I was saying that for me, the key thing is about my company is there's three things. One is ethics or values. No matter what, we do not compromise on our values or our ethics. That's key, and I do not care. And I actually said to him, we had a really big company approach us to do an event together for them or with them, and I refused because it is a massive big company, and in terms of the brand, it would level us up to huge. But I do not want to work with these kind of brands or companies because I don't accept their ethics. I don't like their ethics.
I am totally with you. Totally.
So that's the one thing. And the two other things is really, one is, yes, inclusivity, and not just ethical inclusivity, not just neuro-inclusivity, but even things that I feel it's really been challenging is aging. You know, to allow any age, whether you're 90 or 9, it doesn't matter. I mean, 9, okay, that's maybe child labor, but you know, we should be so open for any age group.
Of course.
Any form of inclusivity.
Yeah, and exactly that's why I just want to throw in that this is the biggest lie and the biggest bullshit that I'm hearing in economy is like, oh, we have a talent shortage. No, you don't. Yeah. You idiot, you moron. I don't want to hear anything about like talent shortage anymore, because there is no talent shortage. Yes. You could utilize
100%.
So many more people.
Absolutely.
But you don't.
Yeah.
You chose not to. So. And
instead of saying that, they can say, we're going to go out and educate and give education or give schooling or whatever to a group of people here, and help them, support them to get to the level where they can come and work for us. You know, or actually a little bit like also the Swiss system is the Lehrstelle, I think it's called, Berufsschule. You know, you work and you educate yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
That is a way. And the third thing, just to finish, on the organizational kind of the values. You know, I mentioned about values and ethics and inclusivity, but the other thing is also hierarchy.
Oh, yes.
This is something that I think we had already discussed once. I really dislike companies that have this hierarchy. And I've worked in a number of companies, in particular when I worked in the bank, that was so hierarchical. And there's no reason behind it, doesn't make sense. It makes the whole dynamic so bureaucratic, you know, toxic, frankly.
Yes.
And so that is for me also the other thing in my business. There is no hierarchy. There's no titles. There's roles, but there's no hierarchy and there's no titles. There's no, you know,
That's amazing.
None of that.
That's really amazing.
Yeah.
I like the idea. I love it. There's roles, but no titles. I like it. I love it.
Because of course everyone needs to have responsibility. You need to have responsibility and be accountable
100%
for your task, no doubt, right?
Yep.
So that needs to be very clear. But we're not going to name someone a CEO, CFO, CMO. Well, nonsense. No. We're all equals. We're all equals at the end of the day.
That's amazing.
We just have different names, different roles, right?
Yeah.
So
this is such a great input. I'll definitely take that with me, because I think with Neurominds we also have a more, let's say, traditional approach, because in the beginning we were also thinking about maybe getting potentially investors on board, until I realized, no, it actually doesn't make sense, because the investor discussions that we had, they haven't been fruitful. It was all about money. It was all about like growing fast and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh my God, guys, you are still hanging in the 80s.
100%.
You have no idea about the future, that it's going to be community business.
Yes.
You don't get it, so I don't want to work with you.
Yeah. We have also refused. We are not going to be working with those kind of investors, whether venture capital.
I get it.
Only private individuals
Yes.
who have the ethics and the values that we have.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the same thing that we did. And yeah, maybe it takes all a little bit longer, but that's okay. That's totally fine.
Absolutely.
And I also wanted to actually say something before.
Sorry, I interrupted
No,
you.
no, not at all. No.
We were talking about education.
Education, hierarchy. We're talking about hierarchies.
Yeah.
One anecdote. When I
Yes.
was working at Credit Suisse, and that's 11 years ago,
Yeah.
I just started in the company. I was 24. I was
Yes.
really young.
Yeah.
I was sending like an email to a managing director. And my boss, she came over and she said, Lisa, you cannot just text a managing director because he sees that you are even external.
Yeah.
I felt like dirt. I was like, okay, interesting. So because it was still like probation period and stuff, I was calm. But inside of my mind, I thought like, who the fuck are you? Like, who the fuck are you to tell me that I cannot like text the managing director? The thing is, I mean, I texted him already and he texted back and everything was fine.
cool. Yeah.
But if he would have been a dick, I would have let him know.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, as well, when you're neurodivergent, you don't care if you have a CEO of a big company in front of you, or if you have the cleaning lady talking about hierarchy. I don't care.
You're so right.
And if that person is a dick,
yes,
I have a mirror for him.
Yes.
I will hold the mirror up, no problems.
Absolutely.
Because, you know.
I agree,
but,
100%.
The cleaning lady, I always said good morning in every company I worked
Yes.
for, because everyone is getting the exact same amount of respect.
100, and you know what? That's when my nervous system goes like, you know, when I see other people treating unfairly someone because that person is a cleaner or working on the road, or then, you know, you put me in front of that kind of person that disrespects or treats someone, and I've been in this situation, I will fight.
Yeah.
I will fight and back that person up. I tell you, I do not care. Like, everything will come out of me directly, like without any filter. Like, there you go.
Yes, absolutely.
But to your point, just you had an anecdote. I've got one as well. So when I was working in the big bank, and actually I left and I resigned, and I wrote a goodbye email, a kind goodbye email, just to say thank you so much for all the learnings, lessons, for all the people I met. You know, it was fantastic. Very kind, very supportive email in every way. And I sent it to my personal network after 12 years in a bank. I had various different super interesting roles. And so I had, you know, to me personally, I think a very, very good reputation. That's what everyone always said to me. And and a very, very big network in the bank. And I sent an email off, you know, everyone was in BCC, so no one saw each other or anything. My boss then responded to me and she called me up, shouted at me saying, Natascha, how can you do that? Are you crazy? That is not nice. You are not allowed to do things like that. And I was like, what? Why? I'm leaving the bank. I'm saying only nice things, nothing negative, only nice things about the team and everything. This is an internal email to just my network.
Yes.
And she went berserk and crazy and tried to put me down, saying that I was not allowed to do that. Why? She didn't like it. She felt threatened. She said to me, you need to ask for my approval. Ask for my approval to send a goodbye email, to say, here are my contact details, by the way, if there's anything in the future.
This is next level.
Yeah.
This is really
shouting
next
down
level.
the phone on me. I could have gone to HR and made a complaint. I could have gone to HR for many other reasons and made complaints for many other reasons, which I decided not to do that, because I just said, you know what?
Save your energy.
Save my energy.
Yeah, but unfortunately, this is also like the thing a lot of perpetrators in our society get away with, because people feel like,
yes,
I need to save my energy. And I totally agree on that.
Yes.
If I would have had more energy left before my burnout,
yes,
I would have fucked my ex-boss over as well.
Yes.
I would have absolutely entirely fucked her from A to Z, because I had so many things uncovered where I was like, whoa.
Yes.
But
we have to pick our battles.
We have to pick our battles.
That's
and I
the
also
thing.
haven't had any energy left. So
you're right.
I totally feel it, but it's ridiculous, right? You're an adult.
Yeah.
and you have to ask for an approval to send a goodbye email to people. Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, this is really next level.
After,
at least
you know,
this I never had, but that's
After
like,
this,
wow.
But it was clear. I mean, she felt very threatened by me. She didn't like me. She disliked me, you know, for a million of different reasons. There was no reason really, but for her there was a million of different reasons.
Yeah, and there's also like, I think, insecurity playing like such a big role in especially
Oh yes.
female leaders in corporate.
Yeah. Oh yes, I agree.
I don't know, I had at least 3 that are just on top of my head, where I'm like, ugh, ugh.
Absolutely.
Where I'm like, oh my God. And this is like something, sometimes you don't even realize it in the moment, but you realize it after.
Yes.
How insecure they are.
I know.
And I feel so sorry on the one hand side, but on the other hand side,
Yes.
there are some of them where I should have told them kindly to fuck off earlier. But
Do you know what?
Huh?
That boss of mine, 2 weeks later when I left, she was fired.
Oh.
She was fired. So I thought like, hey, you know what? Karma comes back.
Yes, 100%.
I didn't have to do anything.
100%.
It came.
100%. I truly believe that everything is a circle on this planet,
I agree.
and what comes around goes around,
Yes.
right? Yes, 100%. All right.
Thank you so much for
I
this
thank you.
conversation.
Thank
It was
you.
wonderful, Flo.
I will put some information into the show notes, obviously, as well as the company Believe, so you can get yourself familiar with it. If you have any questions, I will also put Natascha's profile in there. So thank you very much for listening, and have a great day.
Thank you so much.